Okay, so I figured out what was the problem with my audio. Turns out my setup was working completely fine. It was just that my Switch output was somehow using my normal mic. So I was trying to pretty much to cut the stream right here and then restart. So it's like it doesn't affect the stream in general. I'm just gonna edit it out. This is not. We're already 20, almost 28 minutes in, and pretty much into this anniversary scene, and I have done nothing. Anyways, yes. So finally, I can talk. So during the entire thank you Haruka to work with me, it's like the follow. But like anyways, yeah. So today, to recap, the previous month, the last time we streamed was around November. For December, I pretty much decided to take advantage of my Christmas break, so I didn't stream then. I was supposed to return in January, but I was predisposed, so which is why we're doing it now in February. It was supposed to be the start of February, but it ended up being around February 13 your time, February 14 your time, so this ended up being not only our first stream for 2022 and also our celebration for our first year of streaming. Also a new model reveal, it also is technically our Valentine's Day stream. So I can technically do bingo with all of those already. Right, yeah, I keep forgetting to turn on my Switch. Wait for it. There we go. Right, so today, to celebrate like the stream, we're doing Great Ace Attorney. Since I have wasted over half an hour, I now have to adjust or extend this. I was only planning on doing this for 2 hours, so Right, let me just stop the music right there, and that no, we won't update. I'll update that later. Start it, please. Thank you. Alright, so I currently have like a new camera setup as well, so that's why I'm tracking it a bit better. The problem with that though is yeah, it's just gonna be janky every time I drink water, because it blocks the camera and thus it makes it go still again. Anyways, so a bit about why we're doing Great Ace Attorney pretty much like for our celebration stream. I've been planning from the previous I pretty much had this ever since it Right, let me just check the audio. I may have to hang on. I'm trying to lower the audio, maybe because I can't hear myself think. Then again, it might be another problem. The audio's still on and I can't even be heard. Anyways, so the reason we're doing Great Ace Attorney Chronicles because I've been meaning to stream this. I actually got this on the day it was released, but I didn't stream it at the time because I've been. But let's say I wasn't pretty much in the mood to do this combined with Kingdom Hearts, which I was pretty much doing on weekends at the time. So yeah, and anyways, the reason other than that, it's mainly because when it comes to Creations during Clouds. I love the Ace Attorney series. I played pretty much like the first Ace Attorney, Justice for All, Trials and Tribulations, some of Fall Justice, and then I went back to pretty much like Gold Desies. The only thing I haven't played is pretty much like Spirit of Justice. Because I'm so annoyed pretty much again, like like only the first three games are in the Switch, but like 4 to 6 aren't in a bundle yet. They really would be making more money if they did that. But yeah, I'm a big Ace Attorney fan, and I pretty much follow series relentlessly. I mean, I mean, like it's probably because like I am pretty much like fancy anything about like I love detective games. I love RPGs. I love puzzles, hidden objects, etc. So it's like I'm pretty much like the antithesis to most like modern gamers. I like to do anything that is not like special. Right. So we're of course beginning with the first game. So we're gonna be doing this new game. Thank you. Imperial Japan.
The Empire of Japan. After opening its doors,
I don't even need to narrate.
a push for cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation. The revolution washed over the land, making life in the capital exciting and unsettling. It was a period of great change, and some was swept away by the tide. But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
Hi, Phoenix's grandpa. I love the music. I love the time period. I love everything about this game. My Gladys Pixel now. Hearing that is music to my ears. So a bit of like a background, like yeah, I do have the trilogy units on the Switch. I did not stream it mainly because I ended pretty much finishing it on my own because I pretty much I meant to do it. Anyways, yeah, no reason like during the intro. So during the intro, it pretty much said it was during a period of great change and revolution in Japan. So this is set during the 1890s, during what is called the Meiji Revolution. The Meiji Revolution was pretty much brought about by a disgruntled like I remember samurai clans who pretty much like wanted pretty much like put an end to the Tokugawa shogun's like power and pretty much like put the everyone troubles yada yada. Meiji pretty much like and his associates pretty much like wanted to like modernize Japan, especially because it was pretty much brought on the fact that they got bullied into opening pretty much their borders again by America. America in its classic carry a big stick and wave it like an approach. This was the 1890s after all. As also another thing I need to mention, I don't think I've ever said this before. I am also a huge history nerd, so when it comes to these kind of games, I'm probably going to be talking a lot about history, or about culture, or about like like the time period. Disclaimer that they're not really gonna be that factual or accurate, or even like remotely interesting. But if I want to talk about it, I will talk about it. Because I love the time period and I'm not letting anyone stop me. Anyways, okay. 22nd November, 8:43 a.m. Supreme Court of Judica. I hate talking English. Ooh. Supreme Court of Judicature, Dependents Antechamber 5. Okay, so the funny thing here about can you just answer a second? See, the fact that we're starting up in Japanese court is like, this is entirely inaccurate. We should not be able to be able to prove ourselves innocent. We should be imprisoned until we're guilty and then released somehow around 50 years later. Ah, the Japanese court system. Gusto rin natin like the voice acting quality in this game. I thought we were gonna voice act most things. I do hope that it's the case. I don't want to read too much. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the doors of this quiet little chamber, it's the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my fate? Disclaimer, I am not a great voice actor. I am quite boring. What? It's like I can only do like certain set of voicing, and that's not gonna end up being useful until we're in Britain. Or if it's like in the setting that the game mainly takes place in. I don't even know how to do what Japanese accent speaking English is. Oh, no, nothing. Save your glares, murderer. It's weird getting an American accent. Sorry. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yumei University. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. Damn it. And now, here I am, awaiting my trial. That's enough. Oh no, it's our cool best friend. He's not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. And who are you? I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes, and until the judge has been given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you will hold your tongue. I can't help but give him an Edward voice. I don't think he's Edward's ancestor though. No, he might be. I don't know. Technicalities. Look at you, you haven't even graduated yet. Youngsters these days, or back in my day. And yet, I still seem to know better than you know how a court officer should behave. Right, Ryunosuke? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, no, I suppose that wasn't my fault. Mm. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry. There you go again, apologizing. Just like always. Though, I must say, you've been all over the newspapers these past few days. Yume University professor murdered in cold blood by student. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? There's an expert, like, brain. Also, like, I mean, headline, professor killed by student. Doesn't really, like, it's like a big university, it's just professor killed by student. That would pretty much, like, would be on the local news. Sorry. Okay. Next. Of course not! You had to believe me, I didn't do it! I hate that I'm doing American accents for them. I could never murder someone. But hypothetically, I probably could. Then there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up. Hold your head high. You're a man after all. Be a man for once, to be honest, okay? You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, to be honest, okay? Kazuma Asogi. My best friend. Also in his second year at Yume University. He's far more clever than I. A star student, in fact. Do a more flamboyant voice. I'm saving it for later. Because the Europeans are gonna be the most flamboyant I can do. And besides, I'm limited in the flamboyancy I can do anyways by my, like, range. But he's far more clever than I. A star student, in fact. Also, did I forget to mention this? The first time I'm asking, like, voicing out loud a game for a stream. So, this is the first time I am voice acting something, so it's like, it's practice, I guess. I'll get better in time. It's not that impressive. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old. Well, here in Japan anyway. Then more commanding. That's what she said. My qualifications don't mean much yet. I'm probably gonna improve it once I hear it later, but you know, Kazuma, you said exactly the same thing 3 years ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. Every time they say Kazuma, I keep thinking of Tekken. I hate it. 3 days ago. Yes. That's when all this started. It all started when I went to that new restaurant opened, like, down the block. I think its name was McDonald's. I'm not sure what to think about the... and it's at a restaurant. I had not played this game before, nor did I play the fan, like, translation, so it's like, yeah, I'm doing this blind. Congratulations, Kazuma. It looks like you're going to get study abroad at last. I know. I've been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I'm really happy for you, and proud as a friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. It's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing on his temple. Nice to know pretty much, like, Edwards is like, flair for dramatics, and, like, commanding aura is like runs to the family. Now I want a prequel based on, like, Gregory Edwards' cases, goddammit. I want to bring about change in our own legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. I just hope that wherever he studies, like, if they have a decent legal system, it depends on the country at the time. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. I wouldn't really say the British legal system is the best. I would argue it's on the lower spectrum. Then come with me. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. I mean, yeah, you could do that in about 1 or 2 minutes before people's like, constables or people's like stop you in your tracks, and then proceed to ask you for your license, to which you do not have a license to tear up any kind of streets, and thus you'll be spending the next few days in pretty much the jail. If only it were that simple. I'm probably gonna have a more confident voice later. Like considering this is I mean Phoenix wasn't that commanding to begin with, or that confident. He started up as a whiny previous lawyer press off the block, so it's like ancestor descendant. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. They really do have the great food here, like this Big Mac, or this McFlurry. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. I hate that I made this McDonald's now, because high-class Western restaurant is not what it is. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. See the the classic thing when it comes to JRPGs or Japanese games, it's when they're translated or they're subtitled, it's they pretty much see you later in English class, or I can't get a hand on this for the English test. It's when they themselves are speaking English. It's yeah, it's weird, but it's it's just funny. I love it. Yo, straight after that, that's when it happened. Jeez, Ryunosuke. I can't even leave you for 5 minutes before you end up killing someone. Why do I have to monitor you every time we go somewhere? God damn it, Ryunosuke. Hey, Phoenix's other ancestor. Professor, I didn't know you were coming. What voice I give for this? It's all gonna end up being the same voice but for different characters. Well, this case has personal significance to me. But never mind that for now. Asogi. You should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To His Excellency's... no, it's blending in. To His Excellency's chambers? Why? He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. I mean, honestly, man, we have a system for this. You notify the judge and the judiciary of your intent to represent your client weeks before the trial, not on the day before. Come on, haven't I taught you anything in class? Yeah, to be honest, I am not that great voice acting. I'm not I can't remember it's what I recommend is you go through if anyone you search save data team. They have pretty much the best in my overall opinion voice acting or playthrough pretty much through the Ace Story series. And the voice acting is top notch. It's all mainly from just one character. I have one person. I keep thinking characters when I say it's people now. That It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result. Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at university before. Damn it, Ryunosuke, don't you know your professors? I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. I can't. I don't know what to give Mikotaba. Alright then, Ryunosuke. I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes. Thanks, Kasuma. Hi, future father-in-law. This is awkward. If I may. Yes, sorry. You must be the dependent. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. Wow, I didn't know forensic medicine existed during like the 70s and 90s. I mean, yeah, I know pretty much Sherlock was all about like forensic or like pretty much empathetic like evidence and all, but it's like I'm bringing to pretty like forensic evidence when pretty much like even gained traction until the 1950s or 40s at least. Professor Mikotoba. I've heard that name from Kasumi before. Maybe because I'm pretty sure we're not in the same course. That's why I don't remember this professor. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kasama studying abroad. Asogi has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. That's ironic. Phoenix and Ezra's ancestors being best friends, and they are also best friends. I mean, if we didn't have previous or there was Mikotoba didn't exist, you could say pretty much Kasuma and Ryunosuke are pretty much Venus's ancestors. I mean, my god. Oh no, I mean, then again, they're probably just roommates. As such, I feel you should know. Know what? Well, as you've no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if she'll fail to defend you in today's trial, you shall have to study somewhere else, like America. I'm afraid that the permission will be revoked and never granted again. What? As I suspected. You were unaware of this. I mean, honestly, what kind of best friend would pretty much agree to such a thing? Wouldn't they want their best friends to succeed in life? I had a feeling Asogi may have chosen not to tell you. Those Edgeworths, after all, and their pride. He's agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered. Wow, that's hot. But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing? It's Imperial Japan. Of course they would do anything. It's the Imperial diet. It's normal. The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It doesn't help that pretty much this is the 1890s and thus people aren't open to the idea of overseas exchange programs yet. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances. I don't believe it. Believe it! Sorry, I'm required by law to do that every time that the phrase said. Oh god, I think it Murinosuke Naruto voice. But I didn't do it. I swear it. I'm not a murderer. I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving your innocence will be no easy task. Depends on the prosecutor mainly. That's how you see goes in Ace Attorney games. You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial. Sorry? What do you mean? You'll soon understand once proceedings get underway. But then what should I do? Well, naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. I mean, come on, man. You're the one on the podium here. You should know by now not to incriminate yourself. Right, so as long as I pretty much don't mention that I actually murdered that guy. Ah, dang it. Got me again, father-in-law. As soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do. I do? Well, I didn't know we were doing a wedding. Oh my, I wonder who I'm getting married to. But what will the question be? Surely not. Do you accept the ass cases we brought before you? Of course not. Thank you. I pretty much decided to pretty much like make a new model to pretty much like improve it. Also, that's why I was hating how outdated like the model look. But it's because like viewer pretty much like it's like actually it's like improved now, so it actually looks more stylistic. So I love it. Also, because like in personal opinion, this try would fit my character more. If I ever got them to actually like properly writing down or pretty much like labeling pretty much like their backstory. But I might do it later. Defendant. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. It would seem our it would seem our surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. So allow me to summarize. Kazuma Sogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as a defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get a move on. Get moving. There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway, murderer. This is it. If this trial goes badly, Kasa's dreams of studying abroad are over. And what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. And what's more, my descendant will never be must get to live, and thus there will never be an Ace Attorney series. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. The trial that would forever change my destiny. My one and only chance to prove my innocence. I swear I did not play this before. Nor did I watch it. So, this is a courtroom. Welcome to Japan, where the only trials back then were pretty much military trials. The Supreme Court of Judicature. No court in the land has more power. Don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Those are your firing squad, Rinosuke. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. The powers that be have demanded this be a secret trial. Secret trial? A trial that's closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It'll become clear in time. But for now, you need to concentrate, Rinosuke. It's about to begin. Ah, I already had a very big voice for that one. The court will now hear the trial of Rinosuke Naruhodo. The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency. As is the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. That is correct, Your Honor. I made the request myself. Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I am obliged to ask for final confirmation now. Do not waste my time, boy. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial? This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then, if I say I do... I need to answer quickly. What should I do? Right, welcome to the part of Ace Journey where this save's coming. We save every time there's pretty much like a there's a decision, and then pretty much we check what to do here. Right, okay. See, on one hand, we could go for the right answer, which is I do. Let's go for wait and see. Cosmos, a lawyer here? I can't defend myself. If I said I do, it would be tantamount to lying. And I've been accused of murder, for goodness sake. There's no time for lies. Try to stop fidgeting, Ryosuke. It's distracting. If I don't say I'll defend myself now, things could end very badly for my friend. Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear who will advocate for his defense. Yes, automatic. Yes. What is the meaning of this unruly outburst? I would like to inform the court that I, Ryonosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself. You'll be... what? I mean, come on. I know we're Japanese and all, but you got to have this forsake your pride for this. Your life is on that line here, boy. What are you playing at, Ryonosuke? Professor Mikotoba told me everything, just now, before the trial. Did what? He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose. Damn it, Ryonosuke, you noble, self-sacrificing... How sad. Means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off? Oh, that just hurts. No, it's not that really, it's just that... Well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, which is 90% of the time, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you... Yes. I knew that's how you'd feel, which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Tch, President Kotoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial. Well, well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel, really?
Objection!
Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. There we go. That's the classic Phoenix-like pose. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered. Well, Premier University soon to be brought before the Supreme Court. You must have perpetrated the most heinous crime indeed. Just you wait, old man. Me and my descendants will be kicking your and your descendants' asses. As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature in Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo? Yes, Your Excellency. It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken. My competence? What does that mean? He's questioning your ability to do the job. For God's sake, Naruhodo. Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am. So, let's start with the very simplest of questions. Yes. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I care to remember. But, wait. What was it again? Sometimes I can't even remember it. You know it's okay? Let me guess. Your mind's gone blank? You know me so well. All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court records. But I can't even find that. For God's sake, man, it's in front of you. It's simple. You can access the court record with a press of R. Ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. I just had to press the R for the court record. What's R? Isn't that like a letter in the Japanese, in like the English alphabet? But, alright, there's no time to lose. Court record. This is a list of evidence you collected. I'll try switching to people instead with R. You'll find details about the victim in here. When you're done, just press B to go back. Okay, so remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court records. Now, you better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Right, let me read out the university. University collar pin. Proof that I'm a student at the Imperial Yuma University. I always write in the collar of my uniform jacket. Postmortem report. Dead returned until after 2 p.m. and was caused by lots of blood from a gunshot death. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Kazuma Soviet 23, second year at the Imperial Yuma University. He was best friend and being a student in the corporate defense lawyer as well. Imperial Japan, hotline scenes. A medical school professor at the Imperial Yuma University. He's authority in forensic medicine and consult mentor. See, now that makes more sense. He's a medical professor. What? Taketsuchi Ochi, the lead prosecutor of this case, who would appear to have little love for the changes the cultural reformation has brought about. And yet has modern glasses. John H. Wilson, the victim of this case, was visiting professor of medicine at Yuma University in Design Park. Hello, John Watson! Finally, we begin our first foray into the Sherlockverse. Oh yeah, even though in the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles or in the Ace Attorney canon, it's like it's Wilson and like Sholmes. No, I'm gonna refer to them as Holmes and Watson. I am too much pretty much like a avid Holmes reader or Prince enthusiast to even pretty much like entertain the notion of changing the name. Yeah, of course he was a professor of medicine at Yuma University at this point. It makes sense he was a professor of medicine because he was just like a medic during the war. The war in this case would be the Crimean War because by timeline. That's in the 1930s. I can't remember. Now, okay, go. Find the victim in the people's sites in the court record, then press X to present. Try it now.
Yes!
Take that! The victim's name was Dr. John H. Watson. Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university. Dr. Watson was a visiting professor from England invited to Yuma University 3 years ago. Indeed. This is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. At this time, yes, because this is for the Russo-Japanese War as well. As most of you are aware, we had just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. Wouldn't be the first time. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yuma University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor? But I didn't do it. The case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution of this matter. In other words, our people's government is scared about setting English policymakers. And you're a convenient and indispensable scapegoat to blame for this crime. But that's why this trial has those unusual peculiarities, is it? Oh, that was university, never mind. Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Watson was an Englishman. But nationalities and trees won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh dear, look at the time. Better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class restaurant like this. I sure do love these McDonald's. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. The British Empire. Wow. It's incredible to think. Wait. I've seen that man at university. As there is a busy professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still, let's go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Watson. Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Dependent Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Watson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death. The cause of death? Well, obviously, that was, Suker. Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence? But how? Find a piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select present. Do it now. Well, according to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma. Learn to read, you imbecile. That's the post-mortem report, I take it. Sorry, yes, that's right. The post-mortem report. Wait a second, Ryusuke. That post-mortem report's outdated. Here you go, I updated it just for you. I certainly reference that here. In the West, a doctor decides corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. Oh, I see. So as I'm not going to be testing any of this later. This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly see the certain scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. In other words, you should assume that the victim was shot at close range. You can infer it also, so like, usually when you shoot, you would aim at the heart area, or like, the cardiac area. It would basically be around where the button is to the right of it there, but it's pointing left, so it would be shot at the lungs. If it feels like if it pierced the lungs, that technically wouldn't have been I would say a clean death. Maybe because like, if you saw the lungs, technically blood should basically be exiting the mouth and and the wound as well. That goes the same with the cardiac, area. It just doesn't really make sense for things like where guns to not have blood splatter, things like a blood residue around it. Also, I tend to pretty much watch crime dramas or police procedures in my when I used back then. So yeah, this is that's why I love Ace Attorney so much. Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. The photograph print of the victim has been entered in the record. See, for a photograph in the late 1800s, this is quite modern. This is quite clear. So that's a photograph print. That's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail is incredible. Very well. I am satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial. Certainly, Your Excellency. So without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of this case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened. This is it then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. Professor? You mean Dr. Mikotoba? Yes, clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. But if that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah, of course. When speaking with me before, he simply said... Kazuma Sogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is, rein that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Why don't you rein that crazy headband and control the cold stares first? Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I am the head waiter of a Western restaurant called La Carnival. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, Oh, is that blood? It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really should. As everyone knows, the capital southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery 3 days ago. Understood. Hosonaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. And no petty interjections for the aspiring lawyer boy, please. Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. of the day in question. We have few diners at that time of day. I keep forgetting my accent for this one. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 labels to look at. That fits in with my memory of it too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and crockery. No, wait, no, that's a different accent. A gunshot ran out, so I hurried out of the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student.
Yes!
He said no interjections. This is a military trial. Ow, my hand. Hold on, let me just clarify something here. Well, Objection! I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness report of what he saw, you amateur. What? The next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, Dependent Naruhodo. Don't worry, Inosuke, you'll have your chance to fight back. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness. I confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today. Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? No. There was no one else around that table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait. What did he just say? There was no one else around that table. So there's probably someone under the table. What's the matter, Inosuke? That's just not right. When I ordered Dr. Wilson to say hello... Haha! There's always a bigger fish. There's a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Right, we'll save here. Wait and see. I desperately want to say something, but I want told not to interject. Inosuke, your parents tell you to study. You're the kind of man who doesn't get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I heard how into Yume University otherwise. But you can't just always follow the rules in life, you know? Don't say what you want to say right now. You'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty. Oh, come on. Alright, you scared me. I won't forget this piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just gonna shut my eyes and say it.
Yes!
Just a moment, please. Dr. Watson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table. Objection! Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Hosonaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy. deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. Believe it! I also have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. Ah, a sketch of these Clemens' layout drawn by yourself, I presume. It's weird you would sketch it yourself. That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Are you sure about that? Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well, is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. The waiter's business card has been entered to the court record. So, the court has now heard a precis of the case. Yes, as of the moment, the gunshot was heard in the restaurant. The only person in close proximity to the victim was a defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of this case to court. As Marwan to the bench, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has cited evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime. But if there were sworn witnesses present at the scene of the crime, then technically there will be other people present at the scene of the crime, not just the defendant. Ergo, you just pretty much contradicted yourself there. What do you think I should do, Kasuma? I think you should take the deal. No, of course you shouldn't take the deal. It shouldn't be that obvious for you. What do you mean? Well, I can be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Would it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Dear God, man, how are you being his ancestor? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual, but these peculiarities. You've said it, Professor Rikatoba said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face. Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then the defense lawyer is duty bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Shinnosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out the two witnesses. Then we'll see just how the size of this evidence really is. This is just the introductory, Then this is the prologue and chapter 1 roll into one, so it's like, yeah, it makes sense as well. Indeed. Prosecutor Ochi, please continue with proceedings. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. Yeah, well, it's like you're the rookie killer, yada yada. Ugh. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silent forever. The prosecution calls its next witnesses. Very well. Officer, bring both the witnesses at once. Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. This is unusual. This is not how court proceedings should work. You do it one at a time. Yes, sir. The Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant E.S. Sanosa reporting for duty, sir. Oh goody, a military man. Myself, I find my employer as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the essence of our nation Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premises in the 2nd District. Kyoro Korekuta at their service. An antique dealer and a soldier were an unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question. You're contradicting your argument that there was no one else but the defendant. They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. This again. On the other hand, this makes sense for Japanese court proceedings. Like, myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon, and not infrequently converse with the interested parties regarding the curious with which I make my business. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He's speaking normal, you dumb. He's an antique dealer. It sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. Dear God, Yonosuke, it's not that hard to discern. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with high-risk clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer. Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative. Wait, no, I'm not going to jump right there. I have the perfect voice for this. Enemy unit was seen attacking the front of the corner in what cannot be described as an act of war, sir. I want pictures of Spider-Man, damn it. We all know it's J. Jonah Jameson's ancestor. I knew it. It was that black uniform rogue implement over there who unloaded his bar, sir. It's a menace to our society. This man is impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during the thing he said. So, this is the decisive evidence the prosecutor was threatening. The soldiers claim that he actually saw at the precise moment you saw the victim dead. Yes? Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Sir, yes, sir. Standing by ready to report, sir. Ready to put that menace where he belongs. Unsavory memories of a most epic afternoon. What the witch saw? I was ingesting a regulation beef steak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was shot. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniform Boston cadet fired on the English civilian and I got back the cowardly little weasel. I'm ready. Again, like, I really like, it's something that, it's very good to easy for me. It goes like, let's see, history. Let's see, fired by like on the English civilian from the back. Yeah, no, because we're going by that logic. Pretty much like, we then go to the court record, we go to the photograph. We can see pretty much like the gunshot is facing pretty much like, is on the front side, meaning it was not from the back as was stated by the witness. And then pretty much like we also had the guard in the back, pretty much like, unless you saw the bullet, pierced from the back to the front. It did not because the autopsy report Frima's clearly states that the bullet did not pierce through and was Frima's still firmly dislodged inside the chest area. It's quite elementary, my dear Watson. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, as you witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked investigator, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. I can hear babies cry, meaning that bundle is from the behind, is it? What times we live in when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Don't you worry, Inosuke. I already figured it out from the get-go. Is that really true, Inosuke? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun I saw was lying on the floor. After I said hello to Dr. Dr. Watson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then, when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant. When I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it. So I bent down and just as I was picking it up... Okay, so either Frima's like, the gun discharged accidentally, or there was a second shooter in the grassy knoll. Well, that's the truth. There was also a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is... Inosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses. Cross-examine? Do it now! As you have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice. Certainly, the testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of this trial. Yes! Objection! What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? The defense demands his right to a cross-examination. Dear me, dear me. Let me guess, the Hachimachi headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic. Huh? How did he know? The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Cosmo is so commanding, he's so cool. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, this is where the battle really begins, heroes, okay? But I don't even know what I have to do in cross-examination. Is it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements. And yeah, this is anything as it goes when it comes to, like, being strike games. The most obvious answer is, like, you can already discern what it is. However, you had to go to the fucking stupid, way of doing it. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means what the soldier said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it. And the key to doing that is evidence. Right. Evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and useful evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryosuke. Don't let them beat you. Yeah. Alright then. It's all or nothing. At least here they have actually the gazing eyes between. They removed that in the original the trilogy and I hate it. What was this song? Yep. Okay, let me just save first. Because I had the right, like, way about it. But I pretty much, like, could have the wrong evidence. So, okay. Percent.
Yes!
Okay, so that's right. What? What are you saying, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Trusting some bureaucratic print in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here. What nonsense. What can this print possibly tell us we don't really know? Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom. It's so frustrating. Go, Kasuma. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It could be more plain. Amateurs. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Kasuma, what? What are you talking about? It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant Iyasanosa. Yes, sir. What's it? The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes!
But no, that just can't be. Why not, cadet? Because... Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Watson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how to explain it? And there's the child. What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he puts it down again. Certainly, there's a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. But the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on this delicious black carnival steak, sir. What? The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Iyasanosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. Oh, I love you, Kasuma. That burn! God! There's gonna be a turnabout in the roll credits. And this one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about, roll credits. But I definitely saw him. That menace, that he was right there, he was pointing the fire and take the victim's back.
Yes!
But I never fired. All I did was pick it up the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either. I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Treasure? Indeed, the Hawaii era Koban, my prize coin. On this occasion, when I visit that restaurant, it is my habitual to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop, Rusty. in the hope of meeting a rich diner, who might like to buy it from you. On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I prepared my holy treasure. Believed that he would purchase such a rare find, I did not, but I was presented with little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes from the previous moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished. Calling it now, the baby took it. The Koban vanished. Hunting around under the table, I was in case mayhap it had fallen there. And then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you know. Indeed, I did, but I did not. He did it not. I was only concerned only with finding my absconded holy treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest, did you find the coin yet? No. I see. That lamentable day, the precious holy coven was lost. But that some executed scoundrel pocketed the price coin for himself. As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be uncomfortable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Archie? Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have pled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make. Explain. The fact that you've been withholding prior evidence, or more testimony, proves to show that you are in contempt of court, Prosecutor. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? He already seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as clinical class, Your Excellency. Yes, sir. At once. Bring the testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative, the newest member of the Nosa family to rise up to the rank, sir. Named Idol. It would seem those strats are a sign of Sergeant being too strapped to report a man. Idol, Shun. Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. For my boy, the access are getting all over the place now. The reason why I only feel like doing this for like 2 hours at most is maybe because my boys won't be able to take it any longer. The water only mitigates for a bit. Even what I saw was in the precise when the pyramid starts, it's almost the same thing. He is pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, that young lad in black. That much I myself did see. This is already a contradiction. Furthermore, habitual circumstances at the time converted they were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniform cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. I already can sense a contradiction here. This statement is certainly compelling.
Yes!
Wait, that's nonsense. Wait until you cross-examine or you'll be penalized or hold contempt in court. What's I don't know. All we have is your word. This is conjecture. Unless you have evidence that proves there was someone with the victim at the time, it can't be proven otherwise.
Objection!
If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We're not here to listen to your fantasies. It's evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact. It is photographic print of the scene of the crime, Counsel. Indeed, at the table which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. As can plainly be seen, there is only one place set. Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else. This doesn't make any sense. The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record. Stand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw it. The waiter report said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Watson can do arresting alone as well. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear she's just not. She isn't just in my fantasies, Kazuma. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Ribbon on time after all. The witness testimonies you have just heard leave no further room for doubt. These are very sensitive political times, as you all know. The ink is still present in the treaty with Great Britain. I think that I, Takatsuchi Alchi, will contribute to the envy of these two great enterprises of honor. How can this be happening? This is ready to rule. Stand tall, Ryosuke. It's not over yet. What? If what you said is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now's your chance to expose it. To draw out the truth in your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick, understood? Rules can be so unbending at times. What can we use? What is this? Gonna ignore it. So from there. Right, I'm gonna have to press here. Recent press.
Yes!
Else at the table. Objection! As you have been at pains to point out time and time again, I feel I'm growing cows to point my ears. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman. Ah, with more people dining at the time, someone else would have noticed her. Fortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. Quite happy lots of dinner in any restaurant. I know, of course the place is almost empty. What do you expect? Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone. Well, I don't know, maybe he was meeting someone there. Yes, there was indeed a reason. There was. This was found in the victim's jacket pocket. What is that, Counsel? It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It was seen that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. Hot dog clinic. Oh, come on, it can't be. They can't be doing that. Oh. But to me, it's like a multi-generation in November, noon to past 1 p.m. For those who don't know, hot dog clinic was like a very prominent location, particularly in Justice for All. In the very first main case after the prologue. Very deadly incident. It's written when for late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really had no bearing in the case. I wonder. What do you think, Ryosuke? Well, it is hard to see how they can be related, really. Remember, you can press ready to enter the court record as evidence you think it could be useful. Should I ask for Dr. Watts' medical report card to be submitted as evidence or not? Ask her to submit.
Yes!
If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency. On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. This evidence will be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's wounds prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection!
Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues. I beg your pardon. You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request. Sit. Youngsters states are probably asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report to the court's records. What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you. You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival ready for you. Or perhaps you've forgotten that these witnesses' testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, correct with the sun? Right, let's check that report card.
Yes!
What did you say, Kurt? I clearly remember. Noticed? Unfortunately for you, Naruto, it's not just a case of these two witnesses alone. Sorry? The waiter, whose testimony Taylor heard earlier, actually said the same thing. Said that the victim was alone. But that is not in the court record, or is not pretty much like a sworn-in witness, so we can't really take that as evidence. That's right. Precisely. In other words, you are the sole proponent of the Spankum lady. If such a woman were indeed present at the scene, prosecution demands to see proof. And if no such proof exists, the person demands no further mention of this Spankum woman be made. I have a feeling it's related to that medical record. It is a blatant waste of the court's time. There's nothing I can say to that. Excellent work, Ryosuke. You gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Oh, you mean this? Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence. Surprised you should examine it a little more detail. Yeah, I was trying to do that, but it wouldn't let me. Damn you, tutorial. How exactly? You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear magnifying glass. These are the ones you can examine. Press A and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. Use RRRR to rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using LLLL, you can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, press A to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there is something new to be learned by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Use RRRRLLLL and A to flick any areas of into suspicious. Mr. John Monson, contemplating. Hate clinics, almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? When I was 5, I caught the only cold I ever had in my life. And I remember, even though I felt up already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. Ugh, I'll never forget it. Never in my whole life. Most people would give their right arm to have had only one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people with illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything. Ah, it's a dentistry. It looks like this medical report card was first issued quite some time ago. It's a record of a long-term treatment, that's why. You're a family doctor, I imagine. I can't imagine. Going to a doctor, I mean. Sounds I'm alive, but never consulting one. Well, if you were dead, there'd be no point. So you don't like doctors, then? Why would you? They make you drink horrible tasting medicine, they give you painful injections. Then they demand lots of money from you for the privilege. Or when you're at the lowest ebb. You sound like a model patient. A bad case of stubbornness, all less, for which the only cure is bitter medicine indeed. Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. Ah, and there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar, you mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice that was for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. But it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you from pain. Ah, there's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until... Aha! That's why! That's the glaring flaw. So that means he can't have eaten until pretty much like it passed, meaning that's a contradiction. Information worth bearing in mind. I knew it. With this information, meaning that one clear thing totally changes. Yep, I know. So I think it's time to listen to the test again, don't you? Definitely. But I wanna examine... This planet resume raises a number of questions, you think? Definitely. It's supposed to show the relative position of everything that Mom is following the instant. But there's nothing to show the woman you say you saw. Exactly. That's not all. Look here in the upper left, where it says kitchen. Oh yes, what of it? No one would use such a complicated character to write kitchen. Was he not they were in a hurry? You mean you don't remember those characters yourself, don't you? Study harder, Yonosuke. This planet person, okay, it's the same. Aha! Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected, it's his job title. His job? Oh, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector, what on earth? I have no idea. Let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. They're ruling it somehow here. I knew there'd be glaring contradictions. Salmon. Right, percent.
Yes!
Well, I think, what are you drinking, lad? Call yourself a lawyer. I wish I could. But first and foremost, here, anti-cues. Nosuke, everyone stumbles in their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clear in that caused sounding you just carried out. Can you raise your hand straight up like that? So purposely. It's so hot, Inosuke. You know exactly what he was really wanted to say. Don't feel like you had to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright, and thanks for the advice. Kurakuta-san, this is a medical report belonging to the victim. Ah, I see, and I don't see. What up, it boy? Comparing what is written on the report card with your written statement, something clearly doesn't add up. Objection! Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish dribble. But, let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. that when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may have done before that time is completely irrelevant. Okay, but that's... Remember, Yosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe I've finished here. There's really no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced hero who could possibly have perpetrated the crime. This medical report card has nothing to do with the case. Do you really believe that? What? The outbursts have petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hata Clinic, which is issued the report card, is a dental clinic. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted. What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating, just what are you trying to say, Kenneth? He had orders not to eat, so what? It's all written in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't. For a prosecutor here, you don't really examine or perhaps glean the evidence properly, do you? Kurakuta-san. What, boy? What? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have been assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Can confirm, you're not supposed to eat when you're still pretty much on the med. Actually done, partner. Jackson! What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Let's look at this photograph evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table. Objection! Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Won't you agree, Yosuke? Oh, I get it. The places were swapped. Yes, most definitely. So having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who, in fact, was eating the pictured beef steak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh. Let me see. Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of your turning this trial around, showing what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at that victim's table must have been an as of yet unknown third party. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the person's table. Jackson! You will not let it go. There's no such person.
Yes!
There was, because I saw. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial. Right, Ryosuke? Kasuma, are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with them, those two witnesses in the stand. What? What are you talking about? You have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury. Perjury. And since this is a murder trial, you'll also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit in murder? No! Negative. There was no messages at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as a man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they told us. Obstruction of justice. That's been responsible by death in Imperial Japan. What? What did you just say? Critical-san? Oh, no. You were just following orders. Now, hold on. I was, say you never saw the gentlewoman? Okay. When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What? Objection! What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair? How dare you? It's just one simple slip of the tongue. Order, counsel. Explain what's going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Actually not. The person knows nothing of this. Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut? Well, let's classify. You're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. It's gotta be happening. Yosuke, judging the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to sides by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Archie had anything about it. What are you saying? This is a Bon Karma tactic, not really like, a Winston Payne tactic. So I have both possibilities. Could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, Any ideas about who might be behind this? We're gonna confirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can confirm our pursuit. The Emperor was tried to name his mouth shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. But Mr. Bruce Reddit was really did with this power plant. But how? It's impossible. We have evidence. Remember how we made progress before? Or examine this piece of evidence in more detail upon new close result. Oh yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to examine everything and make sure there's nothing we miss. There's no time to lose. I want answers. With ruin that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait. Your Excellency, I had to be about any of these. I swear to every seat to God. I knew nothing. Yeah, well, it depends what to say about all this. Well, Your Excellency. No time to think. I'm going to close my eyes and shout out the first thing that comes to my head. Besides prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witness is...
Yes!
Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier? Objection! Poppycock. What possibility would the waiter have to make this skip past testimony? I mentioned that the waiter cannot have possessed that low influence. For once, I would agree with you. If, that is, the man truly were... Wait. What? Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit this court for the truth. The truth about Hatsuru Haruno's really is proven by this evidence.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question. I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail. I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency, that's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon. Or perhaps it's said, the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this oversized student is trying to say? Osana-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of this business card. The front of the business card reveals the man in question's profession, his true profession. The waiter's profession. That's surely... Good gracious. That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? The waiter is the police detective? I've heard any mention this before. Why haven't I heard any mention this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power, as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there on the stand. But, knows as part of the military, technically he's under the jurisdiction of the military. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentleman at the scene? Well... Inspector Hosonaga. I was worried something like this may happen. Though when you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well. Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did ask strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I tried to carry out all investigations flawlessly, if my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So, you mean to say, you really are the detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course, your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover, you buffoon. Undercover? Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, this is a court under the jurisdiction of the imperial power, meaning you beamers are beholden to it, therefore you are legally required to submit information when it is required or it is in fact related to the case. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Can you prove that with evidence? Very well then, Inspector Kosunaga, but you will elaborate on one point of the report. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you, that at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you'd also have been aware of this person's presence having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner, therefore I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you require these visits to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable. As I suspected. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, a gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady, whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed out the restaurant and reported the incident to the bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders, you mean to say? Remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But whether this Englishwoman was a killer, I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly turns of its race with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman had been murdered on her soil, to name an Englishwoman as a primary suspect. Well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. Is that right? One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yuma University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain. I am fairly certain that one of them studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for those he studied. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Jessail Brett. She's indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yuma University's medical faculty. What is happening here? I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in the testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point. Well, that's a change from the usual Japanese way.
Objection!
But Your Excellency, I will be missing the noon deadline for ruling in order to send a report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my court. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes, sir. You will locate this Jezzail bread and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means we go and get special orders we can the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So it won't be a problem. Nothing will get in my way. People with true senses of justice. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Jezzail Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Your Excellency. Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. And that is where we'll be stopping it for now, because, like, you know, yeah, to be continued. And this is episode 1, pretty much this is, like, you know, the end of part 1, and part 2 will be later. Save your current progress. Right, we're gonna end it there for now. Thank you pretty much like for sticking with me and pretty much like it's been like we're kicking pretty much like 2022 off the ban. Pretty much like Kingdom Hearts streams might be continuing, but for now we're focusing on Great Ace Attorney. And yeah, so 2022 I'll be working on bad story and like stuff for like my character now, and also I'll be trying my best to like keep up pretty much like stream nothing but like new games when they come out. So yeah, and I do have a lot planned, so stay tuned. Until then, Jenny.